Good afternoon, everybody. It is, as you can see, 12:31 here in Toronto, and I've just spent, I don't know, half an hour or so tuning around the AM and FM bands with these 380 radios. This was sparked by the fact that I just bought this Sangean. As you can see, this is the ATS 902X2. I'm extremely happy with it as a shortwave radio, and I thought today I would play around with it a little bit on daytime AM, and then I ended up doing FM too. And I decided after I played around with it and was quite impressed by its performance that I'd try the old Texan PL380, and then just for kicks the Elite Mini. So let me push these aside for a minute, and I'm going to, well, maybe I won't push them aside. Maybe I'll just tell you what I got. So here in Toronto, I was able to get on this Sangean on AM 34 stations, of which the majority of them came in pretty well. So that's my notes. On the Texan, which is known to be a pretty good AM radio, but that is somewhat hurt by the fact that its little ferrite antenna isn't very big. On the Texan, I got 31 stations, so that's pretty good. I will say that a lot of them that came in fairly strongly on the Sangean didn't come in quite so strongly on the Texan, but you know, it did pretty well, and I've been pretty impressed by it. The real shocker actually was the Elite Mini, which its ferrite can't be longer than that because the case is, you know, is so small. And it appears to go in this direction, not this direction. The Elite Mini got 28 stations. So that's pretty good. It didn't pick up most of the Buffalo stuff and whatnot. But I've always noticed that if you play with it before bedtime, trying to get some of the clear channel stations, like as what I always try here is 7070 from New York City, it can usually pick it up if the stronger DX station. So I'm, again, always a little shocked at how well that does. So then I decided, okay, so let's try FM. Now here the Sangean has a, you know, I don't know, 3-foot antenna, something like that. The Texan and the Eaton Elite Mini have similar antennas, you know, about just a little longer than the I guess the Texan's a little longer, but not a whole lot. It does also conveniently go up as opposed to the Eaton, which has a tendency to just sit down on your desk. And I also didn't try to find the best spot for FM in the house. I did it right here, which is okay. It's a little better if you get a little farther away from the electronics here. Here, the Sangean was a huge standout. The Sangean got 43 stations. The Sangean does allow you to use the bandwidth switch on FM, but I kept it in the auto position, and there's also an FM muting setting, which I left in the default, which is on. I didn't change that. That will possibly, turning it off will probably let you pick up a few more extremely faint stations where they, I suspect, would get muted between bands, but I didn't try that. The PL380 got 35 stations. And the Elite Mini got 35 stations. Not quite as strongly, some of them, as the Texan, but there's not much to differ between these, and I bet if you propped this up so that you could orient the antenna a little better, you could do really well on this. So this carries on my general feeling that the Elite Mini is a fantastic FM radio in a small package. The Texan is also a pretty darn good FM radio. I've always enjoyed it a lot on FM, and still impresses on AM. And the Sangean is this huge standout FM performer here. Now part of that could be the antenna length, and I suspect probably a lot of it's that, but part of it also is that I think that auto bandwidth function works like a champ for FM. It's a tendency to shut it off on shortwave if you've got flutter going on, as it tends to cut in and out too much, but on FM it works extraordinarily well. Now, the AM performance raises another question, because obviously you could use, we'll put the Elite Mini aside for the moment. Obviously you could use the Texan with a coupling external antenna like the Texan, I don't know, what are they called, ANT200 I think, which is a coil. You can put it next to your radio. It will couple through the internal ferrite and improve your reception. And I've been considering getting one of those. They're about 50 bucks or so here in Canada. So, you know, that's on the list, but probably a little lower down on the list of things to buy, because AM reception is not necessarily my top priority. But, you know, that's good. So that would help this. But here's where the Sangean changes things, because the Sangean's antenna input, which you can see right here, the antenna input goes to the AM radio. Plugging an antenna in here takes the ferrite out of the circuit. And I've tested that by plugging in my long wire, which is about 20 some odd feet, shortwave antenna, which runs across my, my roof deck up here. And if you do that, the AM reception just goes away, because of course that's a totally inadequate AM antenna. It's not set up to be one. So that then gave me a question. Could I get just any old cheap, like you buy for hi-fi antenna, you know, one of those wire round AM antennas that come with, you know, compact hi-fis and things? So I've ordered one because they're only a few dollars, and we'll see. I'm going to try plugging it in here. You could also, of course, plug in something like the a Texan ANT200, and I probably will buy one eventually. And of course, if you plug it in, you should get even presumably better reception than just coupling it to the ferrite. So I don't think the Sangean is a hugely standout AM radio. It's definitely better than the Texan here, but not by a whole lot. But I suspect, considering the tuner in the Texan is considered very good, I think that Sangean is certainly performing as well as it, and will probably perform admirably with an external antenna. So that's my next experiment in this regards. So this is a little bit different video than the kind of stuff I usually do. I don't really intend to do radio reviews or anything like that. I don't buy enough of them to review them. This is just what I got and what I like. Yeah, so I would say, you know, I like both of these. I would probably say if I was buying a new, relatively inexpensive radio, I would skip like the PL 380 or the PL, 310 ET, which is the slightly larger case version of this same radio, and it's got a knob as opposed to this little, you know, thumb thing for the tuning on the side, which I think would improve the radio's ergonomics quite a bit. But the advantage of this one is it's really small, so if you want to take it camping, it's not a big deal. And yeah, so that's pretty well all I would say. I would probably get the PL 330, which would give you single sideband. It's a great radio. Lots of people are saying it can be your one and only radio. I don't know, I like something a little bigger and chunkier, and again, this interface matters to me. But so I would probably, if I was, you know, going beyond the $20, $30 radio market, I would probably make the jump up to, I don't know, what is it, about $100, a little less in Canada at the moment, the PL 330 is probably what I'd do. But yeah, so thanks for watching, if you've watched this, and I will probably have a video with trying out the antenna when it comes.